Morning, folks. Today's soap is brought to us from Wet the Face. The name of this one here is the Quiet Man. Not like Tony, he's in there complaining. This soap is based on Creed's Iris Tweed. It is a very soft soap, looking at 4 ounces, and it's very close to being a crope. You can kind of see there. It is very soft. I've had this probably a better part of a year, and still very soft. Nice scent to it, and got the matching aftershave here also. The price of soap is about 13 bucks. Aftershave's about 15, so it's somewhat economically priced. Pretty good price, especially for the soap that is so soft and easy to whip up. Got it whipped up here in a lathering bowl. It's got grooves in the bottom of it with a Omega boar brush, and I'll try to remember to get the model number. Not sure what the model number is. After a while, all these model numbers run together. This particular brush, I have an orange one just like it that also came with a stand with it, so that makes it pretty nice. I don't know how many of you use stands that you might be able to find at various different websites, but not all of them will fit your brush, and it's kind of nice to get one that comes with the brush that actually does fit. This one here I don't think is too much trouble because it's not a real big knot, but anything like 24, 26 millimeters, you seem to have a little bit more of a problem trying to find a brush stand for a knot that's big, or the handle won't fit in there, or whatever the case might be. Shaver of the day. Well, I'm using the blade. This is a Personna X Series blade, and I've got about half of the box gone. You can kind of tell I've had this box for a moment. Got splashes of water all over it. But it's about half gone now. So I've been putting a pretty good dent in that particular box, and I have it here. And this is the Focus Dynamic. Now this is R48. This is the first version. If you're looking for the Evo, not only will it say Evo right about here, but it's also model number R48-2. At any rate, the biggest difference in between the two, from what I understand, is how the loading mechanism is on the head, as well as the aggressiveness is supposed to be more aggressive than this mild shaver here. But I don't know if you could see that blade, but it lines up pretty good for me. I also got a link down below to Focus, I guess you might say, their website. That advertising the Evo, as well as showing a quick little video on how to use this particular stand, on how you can use it to load your blade on it. This also has a model number, and it's a R49, and the same stand will work for the second version, in other words, the Evo. Now, if you're looking for something that's not made out of aluminum, something that's got more weight to it, there is one that made it from stainless steel. And I think the going price on it, I think, is around 130 bucks, I think, somewhere in there. I've got mine. I got this one here from the Superior Shave, and he's also got the Evo listed there, as well as the stainless steel version, if you want to take a look at it. But I'm still kind of anxious one of these days. I know one of these days I'm going to get to that point where I'm going to want to check out the Evo to see, check out the aggressiveness, see how much more aggressive is it. Is still, in other words, would I consider it mild or closer to being medium, or whatever the case might be. I definitely can see, I guess you might say, a market for this particular shaver, which this particular model, don't know that there might be one website that I saw, just a quick look. In other words, I didn't even see it on eBay. One the website that might still carry the first version, but I think anybody that's carrying it is carrying the second version. If I had to guess, the second version is going to be, how you say, it's not going to be overly aggressive or anything quite like that. It is preferred that the blade that you use, from what I was reading from the website, and I did get it straight in my head, it goes both ways, as it goes for the Shavette, as well as this particular single edge, that the manufacturer mentions about using the DE blades that are snapped in half, and you'll want the In this particular one, you'll want the curled edges to be facing to the head of the razor. The belief is that it adds a little bit more tension when you go to put the base plate together, well, the cap and the base plate together. And I have been using pre-cut blades in both this one here as well as the Shavette. I haven't had any issues just yet. Maybe over an extended period of time or several uses, maybe an issue might develop, but I haven't had that issue. And what they've done on this one here, like I said, they've added 2 extra posts for the head, which that, I guess you might say, adds for the stability. Hang on a second. Little one's being a little bit unruly. But it adds for a stability. When you put that blade in there, holds it in place somewhat easier so it doesn't try to manage to work itself loose. I don't have quite that problem, but I'm accustomed to, I guess you might say, loading blades and various different shavers with different little, I guess you might say, quirks. I'm still getting lather everywhere. I try not to get this one quite so wet, but it seems like it's still got it pretty damp. Not quite drippy, but it will go everywhere. I thought I'd go ahead and use this particular shaver in case there's a number of new people that may not have been exposed to it. I would definitely consider it the kind of shaver for somebody that is young, new to this sort of shaving, especially if they like the idea of using the cartridge with a pivoting head. With this pivoting head, it does make it a little bit easier on the learning curve. Not saying that you can't cut yourself with it, but it's a bit more forgiving. Now, if you're a person that likes to wait a few days in between shaves and you get quite a bit of growth, you're probably going to have to rinse quite a bit, and your strokes are going to be a little bit shorter because it's, I guess you might refer to it as a little bit of a clogger. There's not a whole lot of room there for the soap to go right on through, along with the whiskers. Excuse me. But for me, it's a really easy one to use. And the fact that you're only using half of a DE blade definitely makes it economical. In this particular shaver, I do not find that a feather blade is aggressive. So if you have feather blades and you're looking for a use for one, this probably would be it. You can get several uses out of a feather blade with this particular shaver. But a number of folks have used this in the past and ran into issues. Some get nicks and weepers. I myself, I don't have that issue with it. And it might have some to do with the experience I have with the various other single edge shavers. It is mild. In other words, it's definitely looking for a second and third pass on my normal routine. But it is such an easygoing shaver, easy to use. Might remind you a little bit of the one blade core. Pivoting head, just different blade. And a smaller head at that. That is one thing that I don't think changed is the size of the head. So shaving underneath the nose with the head of that size, I would not think would be an issue. Like I say, it may have a lot to do with the fact of my experience with shaving with single edge shavers, that using it is not quite an issue. Trying to make sure I get that one spot right through there. One of the things that came up here recently in an email talking about blades and single edge shavers, I think Supply, the way I understand it, is working on, I guess you might say, developing their own blade or blades, which is going to be pretty cool. For me, that is something that's with the injectors, for instance. A lot of people do have issues with the blade, not so much the shaver as the blade. There's just not very many choices out there. So if a person can come up with different blades, like, like feather or kai or whatever, in other words, with a different aggressiveness, that would fit more a variety of people's, folks' skin types and whisker types and whatnot, that it might work out better for a lot of folks that they had more of a choice in blades. There are just not very many places you go to get blades for an injector. Now, I've been using Personna injector blades for quite a while, and I do just fine with them. The only problem I've ever ran in with Schick is the fact that they seem to be a little inconsistent in their edge. In other words, they got some duds. And they're not as cheap or as inexpensive as Personna blades, at least not for me, for what I find around here. Usually with Personna injector blades, you can get a dispenser with about 20 blades. And that's a pretty good deal. Usually price-wise, it ends up working out pretty nice. I can hear Tony getting in trouble. Against the Green Pass. One of the things that is mentioned about this particular shaver, it's okay to hear the click at the end of your stroke, just not mid-stroke. Very smooth. So if you have sensitive skin and it seems like everything under the sun has a tendency to irritate it, this shaver here might work better for you. If you can still find the first version. Otherwise, you'll have to try your hand at the second one. And one of these days, maybe I'll get one. We'll see how it works out. You definitely will want your lather to be on the moist or wet side. I think that'll help with any clogging issues. If it's very thick, I'm pretty sure that it's gonna your stroke's gonna be very short. Who knows? Maybe the version 2 will be still considered mild, just not as mild as this one here. Guess you might also consider maybe for the ladies, if the legs are sensitive skin or whatever on the legs, that might be a good place to go with it also. After going through 3 passes, what I got left on my face is not a whole lot. Got a little bit right down here, but I did get my trouble spot there. See if I can get a little bit more there. Like I say, it is mild. If you're one that enjoys BBS shaves, you'll have to work at it a little bit. Yep, there we go. That's much better. It takes a little bit of effort to get it sometimes. But still a very smooth, easygoing shave. I don't think I'm going to have any stinging either from the alum block. Get the alum block and see what we get here. Crown King. The newer boxes have a different kind of label. Matter of fact, the box is a different size. It still includes a rubber band, but it's usually placed off to the other side there. Still got a little bit of soap around my ear back there. For those that's been around a little bit and watched Jill, and she's watched some of your videos if you're on YouTube, she will point out if you have a tendency to leave a little bit of soap behind the ears. Yeah, there we go. It's not always easy. Sometimes I notice this after the shave. It doesn't happen during the shave, of course. I always notice it afterwards. Do have my witch hazel this morning. This one here is melon and cucumber with a little bit of peppermint added to it. Smells great. That peppermint is just the right amount in there. My boar brush, I did soak it in water. In other words, before the shave, it allowed the bristles to absorb some of the water and whatnot. I don't, since I'm a painter, I don't find that it's exactly scritchy. Uh, it does have some, especially if you consider compare it to a synthetic knot, but I don't, because I paint, I don't really notice it that much. But if you're a face lather, yeah, this boar brush is going to have a little bit of scratch. This one here, I would consider this not an older knot. It's not one of the ones that came out here recently. I've had some of the newer knots that really, they've done something to the tips that makes them a whole lot softer. For me, it's not troublesome either way, but it is something to point out for some folks that, especially a face lather, it probably would irritate your skin quite a bit. There's a restrictor right there, especially if your skin's very sensitive. I'm not a very good face lather, so I prefer to bow lather and paint. This is a really nice scent. I can't remember all of it. I guess I should have wrote it down and put it on a sticky note here on the window, but take a moment and look down in the description and down through there next to the link. It tells you about the folks that have wore this kind of scent, on days gone by, and it's a fairly popular scent, and it's a nice scent. It works well for my nose. I could not pick out any single note. It's well blended. My nose isn't that sophisticated. I had a great shave this morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Hopefully the little bit more of an explanation about this shaver kind of helps some folks out if you're interested in it. Stay safe, stay healthy, and smooth shaves to you.